Learning to go viral on short form content is one of the best ways to get rich. And I'm going to tell you why. Now, there is one thing that every single business and every single side hustle need to strive. Without it, they would be absolutely nothing. And that one thing is going to be attention. If people don't know you exist, people don't know you sell a product, people don't know you sell a service, people don't know that you solve people's problems, without attention, it means absolutely nothing. Now, there are three pretty broad forms, right, of attention that I could talk about. First one's being organic, which is like you posting on Instagram Reels, TikTok, Facebook Reels, Instagram, YouTube Shorts. I said Instagram again, but whatever. Basically, doesn't cost you a dime. Then there's paid ads, which would be like Facebook ads, where you pay to have a creative or an ad be put in front of a specific type of viewer. And then there's outreach, which is kind of half and half. You could pay someone to do cold calls for you, you can do it on yourself. So it's kind of like somewhat organic, right? Where you don't really pay to do so, only with your time. No, attention doesn't mean anything unless you sell. And I want to talk about this important because it doesn't mean a transaction. What it means is that you at least sold the person that you are a legitimate business who sells a legitimate service. Because even if there's no transaction, right? If you had your roofing ad company be put in front of a viewer, even if they don't buy it, as long as you sold them the idea that you sell a legitimate service, which you should, don't sell something that you cannot sell. If someone needs roofing done, and you sold them the idea that, hey, this is a legitimate company, I remember, they could refer you. And attention needs to be right as well, because I could stand in New York Square and scream, and I'd get attention. Maybe. New York's kind of crazy. But if I screamed and said, hey, spin this wheel, get $10,000, there we go. It's better attention, right? So, all three are great. All three make tons and tons of money. With organic, there are people out there who have created personal brands, who have marketed their stuff, and it's become such a wealth building opportunity that there's a whole nother genre of dropshipping called organic dropshipping, where the margins are great, the cost of acquisition is great, and they made a full career out of it. Paid ads are great, make tons of money, and when you finally get the right ad creative, make tons of money. Same thing with outreach, especially in the sales world. There are millions of dollars floating going through the sales world. But there's one we need to talk about, and that is going to be organic. Now, the reason why, because that cost of acquisition, right, doesn't really cost you a dime to post on TikTok or Instagram. And the skill of virality is also very, very important, because once you understand how to make great organic content, when you transition that to paid advertising, and just tweak it a little bit, it's going to do extremely well. And the diversity of application when you understand how to master short form content also has extreme potential. And here are just some I listed off the top of my head, like right away. That's going to be personal branding. Now, think of the Trend Twins for the example, right? They have 1.9 million followers. They have their own supplement brand. They got sponsored, all these things, and they have a YouTube channel too, which they got monetized off of and make money as well. Then we have Nate Belmar, who has a great personal brand. He was able to make anime shreds or dojo shreds or whatever, and make tons of money off of that. We have Michael Bernstein here, which is not exactly a personal brand. His face is attached to it, so I consider it that. And through that, he's able to partner maybe with other e-com people, ask for advice, do consultings for, lots and lots of people because they trust him, right? And then we have selling a product and selling a service. Both of these things are exactly the same thing. You talk about your service or your product, organically post about it, and then that could be enough to generate a bunch of sales to your product. I did that. I was able to sell thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of a product through testing the strategy to see if it works. And it did. Now, getting ad revenue is also insane. This is that cost of acquisition I was talking about here, because you can essentially get paid to advertise. Someone is paying you to sell your product, which is insane. And that's what I did when I was selling those thousands of dollars, I guess, with the product. On YouTube Shorts, I was able to get monetized, and they paid me to advertise, which is crazy. And not only does it stop there with getting ad revenue, but I was able to get sponsorship deals too. Here's an email that I got. Hey, it's a pleasure to meet you. My name is Tucker from AnyMine, who is watching amazing videos. Basically said that if I use their background music, they will give me extra revenue. And the way that this typically works is that, per million views or per $100,000 views, they'll give you a dollar amount. So I basically created like 3 different funnels of how I could get paid to sell the main thing. Had a product, made viral content. The viral content went back to my product. I made viral content. I got monetized off of YouTube. Because I got monetized off of YouTube and had viral content, I was able to get sponsorships and like brand deals to basically get money through like 3 different funnels, which is absolutely insane, and why it's such a game changer for today. Now, but how do you do this? Well, you obviously need to create good content and funnel it correctly, right? And I want to talk about how you do it. So, the thing is that you need to search for viral content, especially like kind of in your niche. You need to be able to like forecast and have a little bit of hindsight on what's going to go viral, what's doing well. You need to increase quality, not only with like the camera and the lighting, things like that, but also the pacing, just the overall idea of it. You need to look at viewer analytics, which most, the big 4 like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok all have that. You need to study that relentlessly. Maintaining a consistent level of content with quantity and quality. Focusing on the right kind of content, because we're going back to that attention thing, right? Learning to edit. And there's a lot more to it. So, how do you actually do that though? Well, one thing that I recommend, and this is real sauce right here, is that every time someone grabs your attention on TikTok or Instagram, you need to study why and how they grabbed your attention. So, especially in the organic dropshipping space, one thing they tell a lot of beginners is copy your competitors, especially if you're new. And there's one reason why they do that. It's so that they can essentially reverse engineer why that video is good. You are reverse engineering the whole process so you can understand it through that method. So you're essentially doing the same thing here when you're scrolling and you're like, okay, let me analyze why this video got me. I'm going to spend $10,000 on this Miata. Wow. Well, why did it grab it? Well, $10,000 is a lot of money. And I like Miatas too. But let's go a little bit further into it. This is obviously a hook. The way he said, the second I scrolled on it, 10,000 right there. Boom. They got the card there, his face is there, the text is there. You need to study every single time why they grab your attention. If you can reverse engineer this, you will be great at short form content. Now, so knowing this, you would need to post, reflect, study. Post, reflect, and study. Post, reflect, and study, and so on, and so on, and so on, and keep learning and learning and learning. And I'm going to be honest, this is a little bit of a tricky path. There's a lot of stuff to learn on here, but there's a lot of trial and error, and you need a lot of humbling too. A lot of people go on and post their stuff and think it's great, and it's dog water. Like, it sucks. But it's great that you post, don't get me wrong. But that's the reality of it, is that your content is going to suck. And it's going to take a lot of revisions to do well. And then, when you do all that, it could be 3 months, 6 months, a year. It could be tomorrow, which I really, really doubt. It could be 2 weeks from now on. You go viral, you reflect and study why, and then maybe you can consistently go viral over and over and over again, which would be great. And I wish that upon every single person who's watching this, truly. Now, there's a reason there's a line over here, right? We can skip all this stuff of you doing that personally. And in my description, I have a program where I will basically adopt your issues and problems. And I will personally help you accelerate the learning and virality process. I will adopt your issues. And I won't lie to you, it's quite expensive. And that's because your problems are my problems. You are essentially giving money so that I could drown in the issues with you and be a part of the process. Now, I won't lie, it's not for everyone. We will do a one-on-one call where I learn about your niche, and I'll get back to you about how much I know about the niche, how much the strategy applies to your niche, things like that. So if you're interested, go to the description below. If not, this is the line you need to go on. And truly, this is something you need to study. Every single time, look at why. Take that idea of why and how they got your attention, transfer it over to your niche so you can understand the basic concepts of short form content. Once you master that, you're golden. So if you're serious about building a personal brand, if you're serious about learning to go viral, if you're serious about selling a product, maybe even a service, things like that, or getting ad revenue in general, then go to the description and I'll see if you're a good fit.